Dragon Shield sleeves are only $7.99 on flipsidegaming.com right now. And if you use the promo code CGB at checkout, you will save 10% and support the channel at the same time. So remember to use the promo code CGB. Hello and welcome back to another day in the arena. Today we will be trying out the new ranked best of 3 mode on MTG Arena. And I thought, what better way to showcase sideboarded Magic than with one of the kind of sneaky, awesome tricks in sideboarded Magic, and that is the Transformational sideboard. So we look at our main deck, and we are a Wilderness Reclamation combo deck designed around staying alive long enough to combine Wilderness Reclamation with Expansion Explosion and draw a whole bunch of cards and basically burn the opponent out with a lot of explosions. But post-board, when the opponent sideboards in all of their negates and annoying ways to deal with the reclamation, like Night of Autumn, we turn into something different entirely. Oh, by the way, they also usually side out all of their removal. So I'm going to show you the sideboard plan in action here. We would just let me go ahead and drag some stuff over in the ever awkward way that the arena deck requires. But we bring in cards like Terramander, Dive Down, Negate, Enigma Drake, and Enigma Drake, and Enigma Drake, and Niv Mizzet. And then we take out all the Wilderness Reclamations. We probably also take out, now this is matchup dependent, but other cards that you take out may be the Chemistry's Insights, as they combine well with the Reclamations, and the Expansion Explosions that go way over the top to hit the dome, and maybe some amount of removal, because I expect to use this sideboard plan more often than not against decks that go control-y. Because when you have your Wilderness Reclamation and your combo has to fight through things like counterspells and duress, things are a lot harder. So when the opponent pulls in all those negates against you and all those duresses against you, and you transform into a Drake deck and say they took out all their Ravenous Chupacabras and things like that, and you play a turn 3 Drake that they couldn't duress away, well, then you did it. That is called the Transformational sideboard plan. Also just Terramander coming down on turn 1 being absolutely clutch. So with one more card needing to go to the sideboard, I'm guessing usually it will be Beacon Bolt, but it does depend on your opponent's creature count. But after transforming into this deck, you'll see that we have a very lean, aggressive kind of Drake deck, complete with Niv Mizzet to top it off. No Crackling Drakes. I wanted Enigma Drake because it's lower to the ground, and Terramander because it's lower to the ground. And then you run your opponent over that way. So that is our plan. I'm excited to try it. I will see you in the games. Some people have asked me how to find traditional ranked. It's apparently been a hot spot, so let's record this. Arena play modes, if you have this on, you need to turn it off and show all play modes. Then you hit play and select traditional ranked. Yep, can't keep that either. So, starting our day off a bit sadly with multiple mulligans here. No, I suppose we'll try this. Second search for Iskanta. The game is obsessed with destroying me. So you see that ranks have reset. My mythicness has fallen back to platinum. Hopefully we can rebuild, we can repair. Can move that comfortably to the bottom, and we did hit a land, so a little bit of luck, just a little. Looks like our opponent also got the Drake memo. What are the odds I can draw into a red and then kill this? I do feel like I have to keep progressing my plan. So I'm going to chart a course, and we do hit the red. What am I discarding? Jeez. This is bad because I need both lands. I need the Search for Azcanta, and I need the Wilderness Reclamation to execute our plan. And so I guess it's the Lava Coil, but if our opponent plays an Enigma Drake, that's so bad for me. All right, cross your fingers. Our opponent using Discovery here. For a mull to 5 on the play, it's hard to complain about this hand. It's hard to complain about the way things have worked out. All right, let's pay that 2 life and get this in under a Spell Pierce. The combo, like Search for Azcanta with Reclamation is a combo all its own. Even though I don't have a way to use the mana yet, if given time, Search for Azcanta can do the job. Crackling Drake does not want to offer us much time. That thing grows very quickly. And drawing these lands off the top isn't going to be very helpful. We need to hit a way to flip the Azcanta right away, or we need to hit an Expansion Explosion. And it turns out I could have still had a Lava Coil there and binned the land. Maybe my play was too aggressive. Maybe it was too aggressive. Opponent's digging for damage, and probably for a Spell Pierce as well. Alright, let's see what we can do with the Azcanta trigger. Probably binning another land, because God knows we found our mana pocket after mulling to 5. Yeah, that's not going to do it. Okay, Chart a Course might. Let's give it a chance. Not good. Not good at all. I'm not going to play the Wilderness Reclamation into the Spell Pierce here. I can probably resolve it next turn. So our opponent saving that opt when it could have been a damage is a very clear sign of a dive down or a Spell Pierce. Probably both at this stage of the game, with them having seen a third of their deck and usually running 3 of each. So that is looking lethal. Looking lethal. Yep. Yeah, the mulligan to 5 caught up with us. If we didn't have to discard that Lava Coil, it would be a different game, and maybe I never should have. But, so against Drakes, do we want the transformative sideboard? I think we do. I think it's too easy to get your Wilderness Reclamation hit. And I think that the opponent's going to be taking out their Beacon Bolts and Lava Coils. It's too bad that we lost game 1, because when you win game 1, especially with a deck that has a strong game 1, like this, it's usually pretty automatic. I actually think I'm going to cut Negate since it doesn't trade well with my opponent's spells here. Let's see, what else to cut? We'll cut the Expansion Explosions as they're a big target. The Chemist's Insights perhaps should be cut, although some card advantage can be big here. The Search for Azcantas might need to be cut. They're okay in the long game though, and they're a good bridge to Niv. The Shock is probably the worst, although still taking out Pteramander is important. This part's pretty tough. We can trim lands because we have a much lower curve now. And we can trim like some of these shock lands to hopefully avoid taking some damage. Can we go to 21? I'm not sure. I think shock is the worst because it only deals with Pteramander and doesn't deal with Pteramander in the late game, so I'll pull 1 shock out of the deck. Alright, I'm ready to try this. Transformational sideboarding completed. And a hand we can keep. I got 7 cards. Do I pay 2 life to opt earlier? I don't think I need to, but it sure would be nice to get a creature as soon as possible. So yeah, I'm going to pay 2 life to opt a little earlier. It also might put the opponent off of running out of Pteramander, although they do anyway, even though we kind of showed a shock type look. There's the dive down. Here's the Pteramander. I think we'll just go ahead and get rid of it right away. Just keeping their creatures off the board as long as possible is usually my row, like what I go for against Drakes. Another Lava Coil is an excellent draw. 2 cards. The Shock I think I can drop off now because we dealt with the Pteramander. If I had been patient, maybe shocking the Pteramander would have been a lot better than Lava Coiling it. And we're not finding our creatures on time, which is little tilting, not gonna lie to you. Let's go ahead and coil that away and see if we can come up with a Drake of our own. Another coil, though, I'm never going to turn down here, just because it's going to make our opponent's job very hard. Crackles. All right, coil you too. I'll be in good shape when I find a creature. I don't know when that will be. Our opponent already found 3, and we exiled them all. We also have 8 cards in our graveyard. So I think I always let these resolve. The only things I really want to fight over are keeping my creature alive and keeping theirs dead. The creatures in this matchup end the game so quickly. Alright, take 2 damage, play Treasure Map. Okay, I'll fight over that. I'll fight over that. Let's not let the opponent get a huge mana and card advantage here. And drawing land off the top, that's a pretty nasty brick. Our opponent's still drawing selection spells. Ugh. It's kind of grossing me out. Jeez, I'm so jealous. I want to do all those things. There we go. Let's make you a 5/5 before the Lava Coil is even an option. And let's kick it over to the opponent and see if they have any ways to deal with the Pteramander. We saw them discarding Shocks. We haven't seen any Lava Coils since board. They have an Entrancing Melody? Jeez. It's an interesting idea to bring in against my deck. So maybe they were even ready for some kind of a sideboardy swerve. I'm going to hold this back in case I want to discard it to the Beacon Bolt later. Okay, my opponent has a Niv. I have a Niv. Do they have a dive down? Person who untaps with Niv usually wins, but if one of them has a dive down, that's really bad. If I go for this Beacon Bolt and it's a dive down, the game's sort of over. If I go for the Niv, then my opponent will just kill it, so I have to. Okay, that's not a dive down. You're telling me there's a chance. That's a lot of cards, though. All right, let's clock them. So do I play my tapped Breeding Pool? On one hand, the best thing I can do is draw a one-drop spell to go with this Niv, and I don't want to take damage for it. But on the other hand, it might be the best discard to the Bolt. I do think I play it, though, in this situation. We'll see if the opponent has another Niv. Oh, God. All right. Good times. And right in the face of this Beacon Bolt, too. I guess I could attack. If the opponent chump blocks, that's really great for me, right? Let's see what happens. Of course, if they have the dive down now, it's death. Wow. It's just so... ugh. So grr. And we don't want to play that, it'll get blown up. Okay, Pteramander going straight to a 5/5. Treasure map doesn't trigger Niv. Scrying now. They must have something. And they're passing the turn. 1 damage upstairs, I guess. Beacon Bolt. Target your Niv. Discard my Pteramander. Theirs is going to resolve first. Let's see what they do with it. They're going upstairs, which means I don't think they can kill the Niv. Which means I'm going upstairs, because if I can get 5 damage to kill the Pteramander, I'd rather kill the player anyway. Alright. See what we can dig up. Down to 3. That is the combo. That is the combo. And that's that game. So now the opponent knows that we turned into the Drakes deck. So do we go back to combo? I think for the video we do. So they became the Niv deck. Let's try to combo them before they can pull that off. Actually, the negates don't make any sense. Like, we could negate around a Spell Pierce or something, but I don't think that does anything. And it's interesting that they did have Entrancing Melody, right? So it's kind of weird. Kind of weird. Alright, what else did I bring in with the Drake package dive down? That's the other card I have to cut. And what else? I wonder if I can just run on a lower land count in general with all these Spell Pierces and Chart of Courses. It's all a bit of an experiment right now. We'll pull out one of the shocks again, because I think that makes sense. I want to keep the Nivs, because it's really hard for them to beat that card. I will pop out, I think, an island. Although I guess I really need to hit 4th land with Reclamation. But we're on the draw. Have optimism. Let's go. The opponent must have cut their... Well, no, we still did see a dive down, didn't we? Never mind. I was going to say maybe they cut their dive downs for interaction. So here's a 1-lander I can't really keep. Well, I guess if I draw a land, it gets there, right? And then it's a good hand. Although these 2 expansions don't do much for a very long time. Oh, I'm sure they can copy the opponent's card draw spells, though. Is this the kind of 1-lander that you keep? I'm going to mulligan it. Alright. I'm pretty happy with that. So, do you have Pteramander? No, tapped land. Okay. Now we have Pteramander. All right. This time I'm going to see if I do dig up a shock. Niva's great lands are great, I suppose. Get there. So, last time I just killed the Pteramander on sight. This time I'm going to try to set up a lava coil like an expansion if my opponent goes for an early Crackling Drake. So 3 mana here. If I chart a course, what am I discarding? I guess I don't know, but I'll try to find out. I actually think it's the Spell Pierce. The Spell Piercing and Dive Down can be pretty clutch. I think it's the Spell Pierce. But I'm not sure about my decisions, to be honest, in this matchup. I think I always feel uncertain with Drakes, and I feel a little out of the loop with how they've played since it's mainly a best of 3 deck and not that popular in best of 1. So you've only got 2 spells. The opponent shocks me on end step. This is where Wilderness Reclamation would look amazing. And they say go. There's a shock. The opponent with 3. Alright. I think I'm going to try and upkeep shock on the Pteramander. Well, no, I'll just say go. We'll see what the opponent does. There's an opt. I do want them to try to pump it. That would be the best time to shock it. I'd also love to resolve my Chemister's Insight. So 1 damage or what? Okay. And what else? We got another chart, of course. I could copy that to draw 2 cards. But I'm kind of planning on drawing 2 cards anyway. See what else you do. Insight. There we go. Land, go. Try to do everything at instant speed. I could Discovery this turn. I guess that's pretty good. Just making sure I have the mana up I want. And, yep, let's discover something. There's a few more lands, but I think we can do without those, as flooding out is a risk. Another expansion. All right, your turn. Here comes an opt. So there's going up to 6, which means the opponent will be able to grow the Pteramander if they go for that. All right, in response to that, before it's in the graveyard, let's go to shock the opponent's Pteramander. There's the dive down. Here's the expansion on a shock. And kill it. I'm sure they have another creature that they can play with, and we took a lot of damage from that Pteramander, so I'm still not sure that I shouldn't have killed it immediately. But we did end up getting rid of a dive down. And here's a Drake, okay. And a map. Pretty annoying to see that map resolve. Let's definitely get the Drake dead, though, because if they tapped out, that's really good for us here. Do I play this land? Yeah, because I can discard it to draw 2 to the Chemisters. So I think I'll just main phase that rather than hold the mana up. Especially if our opponent's most likely plan is probably a Niv anyway. All right. Just in case of Spell Pierce, something obnoxious of that nature. Yep, here's their Niv, and we didn't find the answer in the cards that we drew, which is pretty frustrating, but there's a Wilderness Reclamation. So let's play that. Let's shock for the land. If the opponent had the Dive Down or the Spell Pierce, I don't think they'd have played the Crackling Drake the way that they did. So I think I go for it here. And we'll see if they have it. They might also draw it off the top, of course. So what is that? That's for 6. I could make it 5, but going for 4 won't do the job. So yeah, here we go. If it's a Dive Down, we lose. If it's not, we win. If it's a Spell Pierce too, I should say. I would like to resolve it. Yes! You're telling me there's a chance. Oh my gosh, when I get to untap all this land. Living the dream. So what are we discarding? Letting my opponent know I'm thinking, not lost. Can discard a land comfortably, I feel. I don't know how good Spell Pierce is at this stage, but I feel like I do have to fight over some things. And I feel like I have the game otherwise. Shock is like, I don't know where that fits into the plan, but it goes well with the Niv. Still, the chart of course doesn't, since I'm tapping out to play it. So, alright. You and you. Search for Azcanta is amazing with Reclamation. You can basically make sure that we go off forever. And we'll see if the opponent can put something dangerous and massive onto the battlefield right now. Because what I plan to do is play Niv and then untap and have all this to play with it, which is such a wrecking. The opponent's in the tank. I wonder if they have lava coils in their hand. Well, they didn't see the Drakes. They saw the Terramanders. Interesting. I wonder if they have the Entrancing Melody in their hand. Rawl. Okay. Do what you gotta do.
I've worked my whole life for this. Choose wisely, because the other one's going bye-bye.
And no creature. Here's Niv. I'll mark the end step to add a mana to the mana pool so I can opt. Which is probably the least that I'm going to do. And let's start there. I'm going to definitely fry out this Rawl before it gets another activation. That's plan number 1.
I've been through worse.
And then I'll probably do more on the upkeep so I don't have to discard. Because if I overflow my hand here in my own end step, I still have to discard cards. But we wanted to use that 1 mana before we lost it. Alright, treasure map doing work. Going bottom. Digging. They need a something. Alright, upkeep. Here comes the map activation. I'll let them resolve that before I take out the Raw. Just force them to make that decision. And now... another shock is wonderful.
Come on, breathe through it.
This is that slow, creeping death that comes with taking on Niv. Oh, man. So, I guess my explosion isn't that much at this point. I was gonna just try to math and see if I can kill from this spot, which would be absolutely ridiculous. But I'm sure I can if I get to resolve an explosion on my next turn. But at this point, I don't even know if I want to go for something that mana intensive that could lose to a Spell Pierce. Double Reclamation? Holy cow.
I really should get back to the lab.
Yep, back to the lab with you, nerd. There's a beacon bolt. Draw a card, head upstairs. So we definitely at the very least need to resolve some things in the meantime. Let's Spell Pierce the bolt. Opponent might end up paying a lot of mana. And if they pay a lot of mana to get rid of the Niv, the explosion will definitely be lethal. So there's 1, there's 2. They have to click resolve and then pay it. Okay, let's do it again. Keep making them pay. Make them pay. All right. Let's shock your face. Keep it coming, but I'm holding on to the explosion. Oh, yay, an opt. Just what we needed. More nonsense. Yep, this is why even when you kill Niv, sometimes it can bury you. Yep, that's good. So the opponent with 3 treasures, 1 land, 9 life. Are they going to do anything else with that mana this turn? It looks like they are. And it's an Enigma Drake. So I need to figure out if I can burn out a Spell Pierce. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Yeah, I can burn right through a Spell Pierce. I could go for another Reclamation, which is even more, like, crazy. Might as well. Alright, this is the fun part where you add a whole bunch of mana resolve. Opponent taking their time. I could try throwing them a good game. I'd actually mean it. Like, this was a pretty tough match. Like, I had to work on this one. But people take things out of context, and especially when you're not the person winning the game, I don't want to be insensitive if they are taking it hard for any reason. All right, we'll send them an even Stevens 9-2 face. And that's game. Well, that match, like many 2 out of 3 matches, was long, very exciting, full of twists and turns, so I think we're going to make that the upload. I thought it was an excellent game and a great way to show off the transformational nature of sideboarding and some of the strategy involved, as well as the... I haven't seen anybody else using this yet, but if you want to try out the Wilderness Reclamation explosion combo that transforms into Drakes and then back to combo, by all means, take it out and try it out. It's a very fun deck, and I enjoy it. Thank you very much for watching. As always, I will see you in the next video. Mana necklaces have arrived at hauntedflower.com. These necklaces are a great way to show your favorite MTG colors. Remember to use the promo code CGB at checkout to save 10%. That is promo code CGB on hauntedflower.com.